Right, good afternoon. Welcome, John Peters from Meshcanics, and it's great to have you here this afternoon. And please tell me in your own words, I guess, what you do and how long you've been doing it for.
Great, thanks, Charles. What do I do? I'm a 3D design specialist. I use CAD software, so 3D modeling programs, and I specialize in providing CAD files for designers, architects, interior designers, product designers, anyone really who has an idea on paper that needs to get it into a 3D model that they can then use that 3D model to visualize, to get planning permission, to 3D print it. So kind of there's lots of outputs essentially, but essentially getting that model as a 3D structure. So that's kind of what I really enjoy doing. Yeah.
Wow, wow. And tell me how long you've been doing this for.
About 10, no, bit longer now, 11 and a bit years now. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
as a business with a friend, with a close friend. So yeah.
Great, great, great. And is this something that you always wanted to do, John, or is it something that you have to kind of like work through, or is this been a passion to being this in this particular field?
It's definitely a passion that sort of just gave sort of revealed itself from going to university down here in Cornwall and wanting to do art, but then initially realizing I want a job, so ended up doing design instead.
Mhm.
And in my second year, just being really passionate about this way of working, and I ended up sort of teaching some of my fellow students, the software, and be like, look, guys, you can do this, and sort of helping them along. And I really got a passion for wanting to equip people with the skills and the tools that I have. Um, and then that led through uni, and then after when I graduated, I wanted to stay in Cornwall and I wanted a job. But jobs down here are quite hard to get, especially in
Yeah.
quite a niche area. Um, so me and a friend who we'd always joked, oh, if we can't find jobs, maybe we should start a business. When we leave, we 6 months after graduating, we hadn't found a job. We're like, well, how bad can we get? Let's give it a go. So we started Meshcanics, and yeah, we've kind of not looked back since. It's been going quite well. Yeah.
Come on, that's so good, so good. And you say obviously during that time, I guess we had we had COVID, and obviously that impacted so many businesses that had put things on pause. And for yourself, I mean, what did COVID do in regards to impacting your business, and what action should you take from that?
It really did help streamline things and just focus the work. It did find it harder to get new work. It was virtually impossible to get extra work as it was, but I think I was in quite a fortunate position in that being essentially a freelance designer. My equipment is all at home anyway. I'm set up working from home, and
Mhm.
one of my biggest clients who I normally go to their studio and work there for them as an in-house designer. Um, that just ended up being remote. So being able to just transition quite seamlessly into that role was quite a steep learning curve. I won't lie. It was quite a
Yeah,
shock to try and get my head around that. And working from home at the time in a smaller house where I was just living in the bedroom, really.
yeah.
My desk was in the corner, so I was in this one room for 90% of like 2 years. It was just horrible. But I think just being disciplined, in my work life pattern was really helpful. So to get through that time, making sure I was spending enough time away from my screen, and with family. And yeah, it wasn't easy, but I think in terms of running the business and having work to do, there was enough provision. So I was very lucky in that respect that I could keep my head above water
Yeah,
on a business side.
yeah, absolutely. And I'll ask that question is, now we're starting to, I guess, come out of COVID. I guess we're starting to head out of it. I'm not totally out of it, but I think we're just, I think we see our woods through the trees. So for yourself, how's that impacting your business since now we're starting to move away from being, I guess, restricted from movements and COVID?
It's opened up a whole bunch of possibilities, really. People are much more comfortable having meetings like this on Zoom, which is amazing. It's a really great technology to have that people be exposed to this way of working. For me, especially because I'm quite remote down here in Cornwall, it means that it opens up opportunities to have meetings with clients across the country or across the world and do screen share and just working in much more natural online collaborative mode. It feels as if that's opened up a lot more of a natural way of working for people. I still really enjoy the benefit though of being in person, face to face for things when they can happen. So if anything, it's made that more of a precious commodity in my mind, and it's given more value to that. But I think the flip side is that there's more acceptance now of working remotely or working at a larger distance, and that's been a good thing as well. Yeah.
Yeah, great, great, great. And you mentioned earlier about learning curve, and I think we're always learning, and we all have learning curves there. And but for yourself, what's been your, I guess, your biggest learning for you being a business owner?
Wow. I think the understanding the business of business. There's one thing to just be passionate about the thing you do, but then actually getting your head around how you then run a business and how you then do your tax and organize structure and plan a year, or do networking and the kind of stuff I really hate.
Yeah.
I really struggle with. That's been the biggest learning curve in terms of I think pricing has probably been the biggest learning curve, to be honest.
Okay.
Learning to value my services, my skills, and then learning to feel comfortable with saying to people, this is what it would cost, or what I would want you to pay me for me to do something that I love to do. And whereas my default position would always been, oh, just do it for free. It's fine. We're friends, or I'll do it as cheap as I possibly can. Actually growing in confidence over the years and valuing my skill set and seeing that as something worth, that's been a really hard learning curve to get to. But obviously a really necessary one if you ever want to run a business and be able to make money from anything. You need to be able to value what you do and hold on to that. Yeah.
Yeah, great, great. And it sounds like these are obviously business challenges that that you've have actually come across there. Are there any other challenges that you may be facing as a business leader? And if so, how are you overcoming them?
Well, like I mentioned, I started Meshcanics with a friend, Ben. We're both kind of run together, the business together, and Ben lives in Brighton, so there's been quite a disconnect in terms of us being apart, and that's been quite a challenge in terms of working together, but quite separate in disparate kind of niches almost, and just in very different worlds almost in terms of how we operate and what we focus on. So a real challenge there is just continuing to really, keep a good, strong relationship together as a team, and focus on what we want to get out of the business, how we want to run and work together, and just have a really strong partnership in that. So it's a continual challenge, but it's definitely worth pursuing because actually it's what, my strengths and his strengths, our weaknesses and strengths really balance each other out. So there's a real natural symbiosis together with our partnership, the way we work together. Which has been a huge benefit. So it's worth pursuing those challenges and going the extra mile really to make it work. So yeah.
Come on, come on. And you talk about these challenges and but what will I say, what have you learned about yourself? What have you learned about John Peters, about yourself being a business owner?
That's that I do have that somehow after so many years of muddling around, doing stuff from university, that I have actually developed a skill set that allows me to be confident that I do have the skills that I've got, and I do have the ability now to sit down with someone who's never hired a designer before and confidently walk them through the process. I feel very proud of that's something I've learned and developed over the years, and yeah, it's a real encouragement to sort of get to a point where you recognize, oh wow, I have actually progressed in ways that I never really expected I would do.
And do you find yourself, you say you get to a point like, oh yeah, I've done this, I got to this point, I progressed, but I mean, are you still, as a business, are you still open to, I guess, learning more about yourself and learning more, and not to sit back thinking I just got this, yeah, is there room to learn more.
Absolutely. I think the nature of business is probably that things always change and you always have to be learning. But the nature on my side of my specialism of 3D modeling using software that updates sort of every year, every few months, there's big changes. And unless you're on that learning curve all the time, you know, you're constantly pursuing and looking as to what the next developments are coming out that are going to affect the industry, unless you're kind of got your finger on the pulse, if it was, as to where progress is going, then you're gonna get lost. So yes, I'm constantly aware of the areas I just desperately need and want to grow in, and the list of things I'm interested in is sort of 10 times bigger than the things I actually have time to focus on. But I really do love that there's this whole ecosystem and world of that I'm really passionate about, that is a really amazing community to be part of. So yeah, I'm always looking to seek new challenges, and every new project and every new client, really, you learn something new, which is amazing. So yeah, I love the diversity of projects I get to work with. So it's always a good challenge.
That's good. That's good. And John, tell me what's inspiring you today?
What's inspiring me?
Yeah.
I think probably in terms of work and life, it would be people's desires to just the innate human desire to want to create and to solve problems, and to do that in a collective manner. That really inspires me, when people have a real heart and a vision for creating something, but they want to do it in a way that's going to affect other people for the best. That really gets me excited when I see that in a project and people.
Come on, come on. And if we had to start all over again, just start from scratch, you know, for your business, so what would you do differently?
I'd probably get an accountant straight away.
Okay.
And I'd expense everything. I think
Yeah.
just stupid things are just learning, and just not realizing that, you know, the things, just the struggles you have when you start up in terms of like funding, or knowing what you should be doing or where you should be starting, and just yeah, an accountant will be top of my list, I think.
Listen, okay, I get that. And with that being said, I mean, if an 18-year-old was to start their own business, you know, what advice would you give that 18-year-old?
Ask questions and go talk to other business owners, even if they're slightly different you know, fields or areas. Just make sure you just chat to other people who are doing similar things, and, you know, share your struggles and share your victories, and just expose yourself to that realm of, you know, people trying and people not always succeeding. But it's quite hard to get out of the online bubble where everything looks like an amazing inspirational online post, but actually it's a bit more raw and real when you're talking to people in the flesh. And I would say actually just invest that time of meeting people and talking to them as individuals, and just learn more. Yeah, ask questions.
That's great. Great.